UX team, as well as the Tyler on and Bridget from the marketing and Firefox program manager managed to come into our meetings and crush our meetings for today. Hopefully, we will talk about exciting stuff today with them while we have them here. Let's go over our meeting agenda today. We have contributors of the week, who is everyone who helped us and filed bugs for the responsive design project. We received a lot of bug reports and like feedback about the redesign project, which is really awesome. I think the team has actually fixed some of them, like the priority bugs within this week, and I think they will also do another launch next week to fix some of these bugs. So yeah, hopefully we could see the fixes soon. Cool. So since we have the three of them already, I think I'm going to skip the community news and go directly to the product updates, and we can talk about it after this if we still have time. So I'm going to give the floor to who's going to speak first. So is it going to be Michael or Tyler or Bridget?
I'm going to let Michael take some of the technical answers, and I think there's two parts to this that we want to first address. We realize, hindsight's always 2020, that a change in the UI like this would have a huge impact on how our users are perceiving things and coming to our contributors that provide such great support to our users. So first of all, we want to say we apologize for not taking the lead before this was released to give a little bit more context setting for our contributors. What we want to do today is give Michael the floor and explain and Bridget, the technical rationale behind all of the work that's been done, because there are some good questions that came in. And what I would like to do is take some of those answers and formulate something that's a little bit more delicate that the contributors can use to respond to our users. So we'll share a Google Doc after the meeting. We have a bunch of different, very long answers. I'll condense them down for this group and share that with you so you can share it with the contributors.
That'll be great. Cool. So we have a few questions already. So Michael, do you want me to verbalize the questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or do you have, sure. So the first question, actually, this is from Paul. So I'm not sure if Paul would like to verbalize it by yourself. No.
You go for it. You got it in front of you right now. So.
Okay. He said that I like the new awesome bar, but would it have been possible to have an option to turn it on or off, evaluate the usage of that control, and then remove or keep that feature? So that is the first question. Yeah. I'll let you answer that first. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of background, I guess, about how the search team has been working. So one of the things that we've been doing is for each thing that we're building now, we land it behind an about config pref turned off in Nightly. And then as a team, we turn these things on, we use them, we work through it as a team to, figure out, okay, is this the thing that we intended to make? Does it work like we wanted it to work? And then we'll make an explicit decision to turn it on in Nightly and collect some feedback from Nightly and rinse and repeat. We do this a whole bunch of times. So the stuff that we released in 75 has actually been like in Nightly and being iterated on, like beginning back in December. And, I think at one point, Bridget, maybe we were originally hoping like Firefox 70 or 71. And yeah, anyway, we released it in 75 because we would turn stuff on nightly. People were like, oh my God, you're killing me with this. And we were like, all right, back to the drawing board. Let's fix this, right? And I have to honestly say, like, I feel like, and I think the team feels like, the stuff that we released in 75 is just light years better than the stuff that we originally landed back in December. So there's that. The other, I guess, the other kind of answer to this is that the visual parts of it, right? So like the focused state of the address bar, I think, is the biggest visual change. We don't have any plans for a pref to turn that off. You can think about that as like it's part of the photon design, like the photon theme. We just couldn't do this back in Firefox 57. Like technically, it wasn't a thing that was possible for us to do. So just like you can't turn on curvy tabs from Australis, the focus state of the address bar, I don't think is a thing that, it's not a thing that we have plans to allow people to turn on and off. But we are, there is a bug where we have been collecting feedback and things that we think are pretty actionable stuff that we can fix quickly. So we have some things that will make it into 76, and some other things that will probably not make it until 77, but we're working on those. One, this is probably, I would imagine, a thing for 77, is a pref to turn off the top sites feature in the address bar. So this part in particular is not clear in the current release. You can, it's so weird, you can technically turn it off by turning off the top site section on the new tab page. But weirdly, we show in its place the old frequency list of websites that was under the like caret drop down in the address bar. And so that's totally confusing, and we'll fix that. And there'll be a separate pref for the address bar than the one for the new tab page. So you can have both or neither or one or the other, like that. And we'll actually remove that old frequency list. They're essentially the same things, just the top sites you can customize. So you can pin things and reorganize things. The other one is just always automatic, and you could have your top sites be always automatic by just not touching them. So yeah, so that's sort of the intention. The other thing about like turning things off is that the address bar respects the reduced motion preference in your OS. For the address bar right now, that just means it doesn't animate, so it just changes without moving. I think somewhere there was a mention, I mean, we certainly have a bug report of someone having trouble with that who has epilepsy. We're investigating that and seeing what else we might do. It's not really clear what a solution might be, so we're still, it's a thing we're working on though. Yeah, I don't know, is that, I think that kind of gets to your answer. Is that, do you have anything else there?
No, I mean, I've seen, I go back to the previous point that was raised around the earlier iteration of the Awesome Bar and how it did get much, much bigger, and then it was reworked slightly. And as a nightly user, like I said, it's just something that I don't think anything of now. It is a part of Firefox. I've got used to it. And you touched on Australis, and look, we all know that when these big changes are, the super big changes to UX are made, there are maybe one or two comments coming to SUMO about it, but those things tend to be although it's a relatively big deal and there's a lot of passion around it, first of all, people are passionate because they care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't be angry. So they care about the product. And secondly, actually, after a period of time, those comments kind of die off and everything just kind of carries on with an improved product. So yeah, in the grand scheme of things, actually, although there's been some way back now, and I recognise the work being done to improve the contributor messaging in the future. Although we've had some comments now, actually, come back in a month's time, probably won't be the biggest issue we've got. So,
I mean, for what it's worth, the usability testing that I did on this back in February, like the comments. So in a usability test, it, wasn't a long period of time. We gave people, basically we gave them a copy of Nightly that automatically imported their profile and stuff, so they have all their data. And we asked them to do like 3 navigational search tasks, 3 like informational search tasks, and 1 shopping task. And not a single person mentioned the new things or even used the new things. And in fact, there was a bit of like, in one tester in particular, there was almost a bit of like kind of frustration, like, why am I even doing this test? Because this looks and works exactly like my regular Firefox. I don't get it. Please let me know in the release notes what's different about this Firefox so I can see, which in one sense is a little disappointing to be like, I just put all this new stuff in here for you and you didn't notice. But also, like, it was kind of part of our explicit goal was to not like force people to do things differently. Like, okay, we're changing Firefox and now you must do it this way. Like, we spent a lot of time making sure, for instance, like having that top sites list automatically appear was a thing that really affected keyboard navigation, and in different ways for different types of people. So people who only use the keyboard, like maybe are not sighted or don't use mice, it affected it one way. Then for people who are like power users and like to use lots of keyboard shortcuts and stuff, and those people, those 2 groups of people primarily use the keyboard, but in different ways. And the top sites thing originally broke things differently for them. And also broke things for, the rest of everybody who have come to, some of which who have come to know that like the tab key does a particular thing in search than it does in other places. And it works that way in Chrome and in Firefox for years and years and years. And reconciling all of that was a priority, even though like it created some like internal inconsistency. But we spent weeks working that out so that when you have your hands on the keyboard and you are doing a thing, trying to get something done in Firefox, it just works how you expect it to work. And by the way, we put some new things in front of you that you might notice and adopt over time. That was kind of what we were trying to do.
So Michael, that's one of the things people were confused about, the whole top sites linkage to the URL bar, the address bar, mega bar, whatever you want to call it. We never documented it. It wasn't obvious. Philip, as you know, one of our super volunteers, like Super Paul and everyone else on this call, he would point out to people in SUMO, hey, you can fix this by changing your top sites, but the message wasn't getting through.
Right.
So I know that with Tyler and perhaps also with Bridget, we've discussed using the What's New panel or some other, or a tour in the future for changes like this, because when people's workflows expect you to change one thing to make the address bar do another thing, but it's actually in top sites, that's where they got confused. It's taken me a while to figure this out.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Yeah, and we hope to have a thing for people, I think by Firefox 77, that will let them, even if they never look at the top of the new tab page, be able to manage what they need to from the address bar.
I guess still related to the mega bar topic, the next question is like from Philip, which is, if there are plans for improvement in this area to make the mega bar and bookmark toolbar coexist better, or if there are even ideas for integrating both of them.
Yeah, so I can say that we have not discussed like how we might integrate the two things, or like have one thing replace the other or something like that. Although okay, so like the Bookmarks Toolbar is not a part of the like default configuration. You have to turn that on if you want that. So in one respect, the top sites feature in the address bar is like a way to have access to that type of feature that's discoverable, because you'll use the address bar at some point and using Firefox, you're going to click in there and now you're going to see this list of websites, which then you could configure to be all your bookmarks and work a lot like a Bookmarks Toolbar, but have the advantage of disappearing when you're just using a web page and not taking up this permanent strip. So that's sort of the idea kind of around that feature. But that being said, we are making some changes to the Bookmarks Toolbar that should be in, at least one of them is in Firefox 76. Maybe this afternoon I'll make, we'll have another patch that can go into 76, or by tomorrow that can go into 76 for this. And basically, so the new design literally takes up 2 pixels of the Bookmarks Toolbar, and we didn't feel like it really interferes like with the Bookmarks Toolbar. Like I said, we literally took up 2 pixels of the Bookmarks Toolbar. But I do feel like people have a point, and actually testing this on like a touch screen, while I mean, as I can hit all my bookmarks in the Bookmarks Toolbar, it does feel like maybe the Bookmarks Toolbar in general, like if you're touch screen, if you're using it in laptop mode or whatever, and the regular density, it's pretty thin Bookmarks Toolbar. So we're going to add a little bit more padding to the actual targets and a little bit more to the toolbar. And then we're looking at like a 2-step shadow to the bar. So it'll have a little bit less of a shadow when it's just the bar focused, and then have the same shadow that it does now when the top sites panel is expanded. So those things, I think, yeah, the extra padding size of the Bookmarks Toolbar is already in 76. And the shadow thing, I'm gonna work on this afternoon. We'll see if we can get that also into 76.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't really understand the user story around the bookmark toolbar. Like, it overlaps. Okay, so I click in the URL bar, and then something drops down and it overlaps. But did users want to actually click on bookmarks?
Oh
instead?
No, I think the case that people are mainly talking about is when the browser starts up, or when you create a new tab. We focus the address bar by default, and in this case, so you open a new tab.
Oh, so the bookmark toolbar is hidden. Yeah, okay, but you fixed that. That's fixed in 76.
It's not, because we don't expand by default the top sites on the new tab, because the top sites feature is part of the page. So we don't put a list of your top sites over top of a list of your top sites by default. We did add that if you like the bar is focused and you click, then we will expand the list, because it's actually much faster if you do have your hand on the mouse then, right? And you're in the address bar to select one of those things. It's kind of I thought, a nice touch. It wasn't part of the original design. But in the design where it's the new tab, it looks like this. I'll show you my new tab. let me turn on my Bookmarks Toolbar real quick. So in a new tab, the thing, it looks like this. And so now the Bookmarks Toolbar, you can see, I don't have the old to compare it to, but these buttons are taller, and now they're completely under, like the bar does not overlap them at all anymore.
Awesome. Yeah, this is 76, right? Or 77?
Yeah, this is nightly, so I guess it's 77, but they uplifted the change to 76.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a chance for people in this room. So if you have a question, please raise your hand or like verbalize your question directly if you want. Otherwise, we can go through the other questions in the forum. Nope. Cool. So the next question is from Marcelo. It's about the shield's color. So we agree that it shouldn't rely solely on colors to indicate the status. I suggested that it become colored and filled when trackers were being blocked, and black or white, and empty inside when protection is on, but there are no trackers on the site. I'd like to know what do you think about that suggestion? I think this is about the ETP shield.
Okay. Honestly, I don't know. I don't work on it. I haven't given this any thought.
Yeah, we might need to take that ETP UI question to the ETP team.
Yeah, I'm not even honestly. I'm not quite sure what the current behavior is.
I think when you visit a site that blocks trackers, it kind of flashes and then it's gray forever.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I think what we're hearing is like a not quite a feature, but like a design request that it stay colored of a certain color if there are blockers. You know what? We can just ask. We'll just take it back to the ETP team. I can do that as an action item.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, that would be great. So last one is from Artis, which is our localization contributor from Germany. So her question is, will the function of the solution button or the search intervention in search result always remain limited to Firefox installation in English language? Or are there plans to deliver this function to other locales in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. There are plans to do it to other locales in the future. Part of releasing this at all was so to step back. So the whole one of the things that we're trying to do is a big use case for search is a thing that we can just call like quick informational search. You have a question that you know has a particular answer. You don't know the answer, but you will know the answer when you see it, right? Those are typically the kinds of things like in our like in my usability test, one of the questions we'll ask people because it's something that people again know that there is an answer to, but a lot of people don't know the answer, which is Queen Elizabeth II, right, of England, when was she crowned? I believe now, because I should know this by heart because I've seen people look up this question a million times, but it's like, oh my God, I can't remember if it's June 2nd or 3rd, 1953. But anyway, but you know what I mean? You know it's a date, you know what you're looking for. You type this into the address bar, you hit enter, you go to Google, and it says really big at the top of the page when it was. And you're like, got it. Got the answer, right? So, for instance, for some of these types of things, like in Chrome, for instance, like checking the weather, right? You just start typing WE and Chrome is like, man, you've looked this up 87 times. I'm putting the weather as one of the search suggestions up here, and you see what the current temperature is. And if you click through, you get the full weather forecast. So this idea of like, you are just looking for a thing that has an answer. And we're looking at like, well, how can we augment Firefox's search capabilities so that we can bring answers one step closer? Instead of you having to go to the search result page, how can we bring these things into the address bar? You get the answer quicker, and you don't actually have to complete an entire search. So the place where we felt like we could do this, like as to test out and prove that this is a thing that we could build, was to do this with a Firefox specific thing that we have the information about when people are looking for this, and we know the result that you should get. And it's a thing that we could that we can make work in other regions and other languages, but also we have to build the system for doing that. And so one of the things is like, in this case, there's very few phrases, and most of them just involve the words Firefox and download and Mozilla. Like those three words are heavily involved in almost all the phrases. So it made it fairly easy to make, but expanding these types of things to other locales, like includes in creating like a backend infrastructure for localizing these things, but also like at some point these become not things that you can localize. Like take these words and translate them literally into German or French or pick a language, right? People in a different region will search for different words to get to these answers than they would in English. And you can't take the English phrases and just, they either don't translate or people would just say it differently in another language. And that's a type of thing that needs some expertise in individual languages and regions in order to do. And that wasn't a thing, like we didn't want to miss the opportunity to just like see if we could build this thing and if people would even use it before like coming up with a whole system to deliver this in, any number of languages for any number of queries. So, but it's a thing that we definitely can feel like we're going to continue to work on and try to bring other types of answers and actions into the address bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm conscious of time. We are over time for 4 minutes, so I hope I can give the floor to the other contributors who are here to ask questions. But yeah, maybe we could run another session like this in the future. But I hope we won't be able. We won't address another problem. We're just going to talk and featuring the team and doing another AMA session. So yeah, anyway, thank you everyone for coming into the meeting. So, and of course for Michael, Tyler, as well as Bridget for coming into our meeting. It's been super helpful and very informative. So I hope the other contributor also find the information useful. So yeah, see you on the next 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everyone. And Kiki, I will send you a Google Doc you can share with this group later today.
Oh, that
it'll answer all the questions in writing.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.